Hello, good evening, and welcome to Ask Andrew Anything About Email Marketing. And this is episode 44. Wow, small little milestone. The plan is to do at least 100, and we still not reach the halfway mark yet, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So, good evening, and if you're new to me, my name is Andrew. Let me switch this. There you go. And I help businesses build deeper relationships with their prospects and also clients through emails. This is what I wanted to say. There you go. And I show up live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Malaysia time. I'm from Malaysia. And the idea is to address or answer your questions related to email marketing. Okay. So that's that. What else do I have? Um, if you want, you can also ask questions on the in the chat, either on LinkedIn, on YouTube, or even on my Facebook profile. And if I can answer them, I will answer them straight away. But generally speaking, let me go back to this. You can submit your questions through a simple Google form. Go to this website called ants.digital/ask. And or if you have a phone with you, you can just scan the QR code and it will lead you to a page where it is a Google form. And you fill in your email address and you can submit your questions. What I do is I would then review your questions, and give you an answer in the following session next Wednesday. And if you want to follow me, or you want to get to know me better, if you're new to me, then you can follow me on LinkedIn. I'm present there. Well, present in the sense I post regularly on LinkedIn. That is my preferred platform for now, because in my audience, that's where they are. So the key thing of marketing is you got to be where your audience are, right? So my audience are mostly on LinkedIn, and therefore I am present and posting on LinkedIn almost on a daily basis. So you can get updated news or thoughts or some ideas that I face, that I have related to email marketing. Okay, so just go to ants.digital/LinkedIn, and it will lead you to my LinkedIn profile. Simple as that. You can click the follow button so that you'll be notified. And if better still, if you click the bell button, then whenever I make a post, then the LinkedIn algorithm, whatever it is, will then notify you that there's a new post from me. Entirely up to you. Okay. So let's start with today's question. Okay, I'm doing before I edit this, just a quick share. When I do live an event like this, when I do a session like this, I'm also repurposing the content. Okay, so that's something that you can learn. The idea is I record once and then I can edit it into multiple snippets. Then I can repurpose it across multiple uh, platforms. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to repeat that question because for the sake of editing, it will be easier for me. Otherwise, it'd be very messy when you do the editing. Okay, so today we are going to look at the first question from Mary Ann, and her question is, "What's first-party data, and what does it got to do with emails?" Okay, interesting question, Mary Ann. So let's start with this. There are generally three types of data. You have your first-party data, you have your second-party data, and then you have your third-party data. Okay, so what's the distinction? What's the difference? First-party data relates to information or data that you collect directly. It's between you and your customer or your prospects. For example, if somebody signs up for my email list, email newsletter, for example, or email subscriber, whatever it is, okay, then That information that the subscriber provides, for example, their name, their email address, maybe even their phone numbers, right, becomes the data that I own. Okay. The next thing is customers. So if they buy something from you, then they will give you their shipping address, for example, and obviously the name and email and phone number for you to contact with regards to, let's say, the logistics and all those things. Those are first party data. So the data that you own. The second party data relates to what you call that. Let's say a data that one company collect and then share it with another company. So let's say, for example, now I would like to run ads to my email subscriber list. So the data that I own, which is the email subscribers, the information, I then download and upload it to, let's say, Facebook. And I'll tell Facebook and say, can you show ads to this list? Okay. So Facebook is taking data from me, which I own, and then basically sharing the information with Facebook. So that is second party data. Another option is, for example, let's say a manufacturer. So they have, let's say, data about inventory, and they now want to share with their resellers or distributors, which items are moving fast, which item they need to stock up, for example. So the data that they have or they collected, which is the manufacturing or the inventory data, which is owned by the manufacturer, is then shared with their resellers or distributors. So it becomes, as far as resellers is concerned, they are getting a second party data. Okay. And finally, third party data are those coming from, let's say, data brokers or market research firm. Okay, MKT Research. Okay, so they go out, they collect information, or they collect data from other sources. For example, let's say they go to LinkedIn, go to Facebook, and look at the trends, for example, for users on LinkedIn and Facebook. Right, they gather this data, and then what they do is they repackage it and then sell it to, consumers or maybe companies as market research. So those are third-party data. Okay, so here are those. These are generally the three differences with regards to your first part of your question, Marianne, which is what is first-party data. Okay, now how does it relate to emails? Let me draw a simple diagram. Let me try this. Let me illustrate this. So now, let's say this is your LinkedIn or your Facebook platform, okay? And then you make a post to, the people who are connected to you or the people in the same industries, for example. Okay, so you make a social media post. Some will like your content or some will engage with your content, right? So what happens is out of this whole group, a small section of the audience will engage with your content. Okay. And what we want to do is, because they're engaging your content, means there is some form of connection. That means your content resonates with them. Okay. So what you want to do is, because this is your LinkedIn platform, it's not you are renting the space, okay, by virtue of participating as the contributor of content. What you want to do is you want to move these interested parties out into your email list. Okay, how you do that? How do you do that? So you get them to subscribe, for example, to your newsletter. All right, to your email address, for example. Okay, and or either you put up a link magnet here. So this is, let's say, a link magnet, and this link magnet will then indicate that they are interested in what you have to offer, what you have to say. You want to move them out from here. Now, the reason why this is important, and now this becomes your first party data. Okay. And the reason why you want to do that is because all the platforms, all the social media platforms can easily shut you down for whatever violation they think that you may have caused because it's on their term. They are the landlords. You're just there. So if they don't like you, for example, they say, I decide not to rent to you. Okay, they'll kick you out. So therefore, it is important for you to then quickly or as much as possible grow your own list. Now, because you own this, whether you switch email service providers or whatever it is, this data stays with you. All right. And obviously, with data privacies and all those things, eventually information like third party data will become less and less. If you know, you've seen that with Facebook, you've seen it with most social media. This third party data will be less and less important and less allowed as far as privacy policy is concerned. So what you want is you want to then gather all your data for yourself so that this becomes your tribe, your community, and this becomes your biggest supporter. So that's how you do it. Okay, so the interrelations between first party data and email is because of that. You want to you you publicly share your information. Some will raise their hands, some will say I'm interested, and that's where you want to gather them into your own world, which is your emails, so that now you can start building your own community. So that's the interconnection between first party data and emails. Maren, I hope this is useful to you. Next, moving on, we have these questions from Ishak, and this is an interesting one because Isha is saying, do I deploy the same tactic that I use for B2C emails, like FOMO or fear of missing out, scarcity, for example, in email with a timer countdown, for example, or either while stock lasts, that kind of information in emails for B2B emails. Okay. So most cases, Isha, the answer is no. Let's look at some examples. So B2C and B2B. Okay, let's look at the buying behavior, for example. In B2C, you are communicating direct with the buyer. All right. So if I'm in a marketplace, I'm looking for computers, or if Apple is talking to me, I'm deciding whether should I buy Apple or should I buy a Intel-based computers. Okay. Whereas in B2B, in most cases, it is a decision decided by, hopefully I get the spelling right, decision decided by committee. So you have the finance people, you have the procurement people, for example, then you have the direct users, also called the project uh, lead, right? So, or the recommender, for example. So this a group of people that is going to make that decision, not the buyer. In B2C's case, direct buyer, they decide, can I afford it? Is this the right one for me? Do I feel right? Do I feel like it? Then I'll go and get it, right? Whereas in the committee, it doesn't work that way. The project proposer may say, I like this brand, but the rest of the committee may have other concerns or may have other criteria to measure. Maybe price, maybe affordability, maybe maintenance, a lot of things that comes into play. So when you use things like FOMO, it will work with the B2C customer, but for B2B, they don't care. Because if you run out of stocks, I'll just go and get somebody else because there are many other service providers out there, right? So, and they are in a position to decide and they can afford to wait. Okay, so that's number one. Number two is in terms of research, okay, the B2C customer is going to do his own research. They are going to go to review site. They're going to form their own opinions, on the products or the range of services that they may want to engage with, right? So if I talk to a coach, and then I'm going to look for coaches within the similar range, and I'm going to look at the difference. Do I like this guy or do I like this lady, for example, for as my coach, right? What does he share? Does the information shared by these coaches resonate with me? Okay, so they are going to make their own decision. Whereas in a committee, they have to refer to a lot of documents, white papers, and all those things because they have to compare. They have to put out a justification between product A and product B. What's the differences in terms of, like I say, maintenance, ownership costs, for example, in terms of training, there are a lot more consideration. And they have to take into account, like I said, because of the committee, many other stakeholders concerned. Okay. So that's why in B2C, Storytelling works because you want to appeal directly to the person that's going to buy from you. Whereas in B2B, it's all about content marketing. It's all about the information that is made available easily to different stakeholders. So for finance person looking at the assessing the value of the product, they want to look at, if there's a resale value, or is there is some form of how long can it last. Okay. From a technical side, they're going to look at security. They're going to look at ease of use, for example. Then from the user side, it's going to look at training, how easy it is to use this product to onboard for my users, right? Because they're not technical, they're general users. Is it easy? Do I have to spend a lot of money? For example, getting, let's say, an SAP, SAP implementation, for example. You need to do a lot of training for your users, okay? So that is why your content marketing is important, because you're going to address different information that make it easy for them to collate, make it easy for them to put together so that they can argue a case either for your products or against your products. So, Ishak, you do not deploy in most cases your tactics that you use for B2C for B2B because it doesn't work. Okay, I hope this is useful. Um, we've got Daphne on. Hi, good evening, Daphne. Good evening. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for supporting. And if you're watching the replay, thank you so much. Like I say, I show up live every Wednesday at 9 p.m. And the idea is to answer all your questions related to email marketing, public service, if you may want to call it, to help you along in your email marketing efforts. And if you have any questions, you are welcome to submit. Or if you're attending it live, then obviously you can. If not, then you only get to watch the recording. Okay. Then make sure you show up the next week, right? So if you have any questions, do share. And we have done with this. Okay. So if you like what you see, what you hear, right, and see and hear, basically is audio and video, and you would be interested in adding email marketing into your marketing mix, then you have two choices. Either you learn it on your own, which is entirely possible, or if you need to get it done quickly, then I have some done for you services directly related to email marketing. Generally, there are two components of email: inbound and outbound. So inbound is first party data. You put up a lead magnet, for example, or you invite people to join your list. That's what you call inbound, and they have given you permission to email them. That's inbound. Outbound is, for example, let's say I want to reach the Fortune 1,000 CEOs. They don't know me. All right. I want to know them. So the only way I can do that is to use email, or they call it cold outreach, to try to get their attention, not to sell anything. So here's the trick: we're not selling anything in the first try. We want to be able to have a discussion with them, to surface our profile in front or within their radar. Then, if some will respond, some will not, obviously, then that way you will be able to then build new connections, and you have conversations, and along the way some of these conversations will lead to a potential business dealing with you, right? So that's outbound. Okay, so I have a combination of services that's done. You can have a look at it. It's called digital /DFY, which stands for done for you, by the way. It's a short form. And get in touch with me, and then let's discuss your issues. I will listen, and then we'll see whether email is right for you, or maybe some other marketing, products or marketing services that is more useful to you. Okay, so no fear, and let's have this conversation. So with that, 26 minutes, not bad. I used to do 30 minutes. So with that, thank you so much for coming in, and thank you so much for attending this. I'll see you again next week. Oh, before that, last pitch, not last pitch, last reminder. If you want to have me answer your questions related to email marketing, Go to this site, ants.digital/ask, submit your questions, and I guarantee you, I will answer your questions in the following week. Okay, and I give you as much detail as possible to help you along. Okay, so definitely thank you so much for attending. To all of you, thank you so much. I'll see you again next Wednesday, 9 p.m. Andrew Wong signing off. Have a good evening and cheers.